set. Good evening. Welcome to the Select Board evening, Tuesday, July 29th. Just want to make an announcement that the meeting is being video and audio recorded and live streamed. We want to welcome Patty King back as she's been in for short hours, so please be patient if you've tried to reach the assessor and couldn't. She's going to be working reduced hours for now. Let's stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, number one, appoint Scott Slawowski to the Cemetery Paving Committee. I spoke.
Would you like me to read the warrants?
Oh, I'm sorry, we went right by that. I'm trying to get to this big agenda. Sorry about
A
that.
moment of glory here.
Thank you.
All right, we have two warrants before us this evening. We have fiscal year 2602, accounts payable in the amount of $668,981.89. And we also have a payroll warrant in the amount of $183,260.56.
All right. So the first order of business is to appoint Scott Slawowski to the paving committee, and speaking with the highway superintendent, he thought that would be a good opportunity to get a break, and he felt it was only going to be another meeting or two anyway. So I'll entertain a motion to appoint Scott Slawowski, highway employee, to the paving committee.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Appoint highway administrative assistant, Katie. How do you say that, Ken?
Residue.
Residue, okay.
It's French, like Montague.
Yeah, so I'll entertain a motion to Katie.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, if I may interject.
Sure.
In discussion with the highway superintendent, we're suggesting a starting rate of $22 per hour. The range was from 20 to 23, and what we're suggesting is that by starting at 22, we can then have room for upward mobility with regards to the wages based upon merit and Katie catching on, so to speak. So maybe perhaps a review after 6 months with the potential for a raise.
Yeah, I think maybe quicker than 6 months may be in order, maybe 90 days. How do you guys feel about that? Well, he has the ability to put something forward as he sees
Yeah,
fit
at any
anyway.
at any time.
Let's
Yeah.
just leave that up to Kyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
okay with the 22.
All right.
Do we need a wage sheet to sign, or is that optional?
I think there's one in here.
There's not one in there,
Oh,
because
there's-
usually we haven't, you've been just voting it, I mean, for
Okay.
the other, even for the other.
I was just asking, 'cause we used to
No, we
do-
don't, no, we don't use them anymore, because Kelly said they're not necessary at all,
Okay.
that's why
All
we
right.
stopped doing it.
Okay, fine. Discussion regarding authorizing animal control officer to use a firearm if necessary. I was in the office with the police chief and the town administrator, and we were good with it. The only suggestion maybe was to attend firearms training with the police department, either semi-annually or annually. That was the only discussion we had from the police chief. How do you guys feel?
I talked to Lee a little bit about it, and yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I just had a couple of questions. Do you, and since it would be carrying for your duties as the ACO, it would be open carry, but do you have an LTC?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So they just finished their firearm training over at the police, so we'd be
Couple
looking at
weeks ago.
another 6 months. I mean, I don't see an issue if you've got an LTC.
I don't either. You've
Yeah.
been through the course to get the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, and we spoke about that previous, so I'm
Yeah.
good with it.
yeah.
And I take it it's something you have experience with?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
All right.
thank you.
So I think we should take a
All right,
motion for
I'll give you a motion for our animal control officer, Deborah Young, to be authorized to carry a firearm for purposes of humane euthanasia in appropriate instances with small animals.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Oh,
Just one thing for discussion. Do you have any recommendations, and it doesn't have to be for tonight? I'm fine with authorizing it without having it in place, but I'd like to get a written policy about like when it's appropriate, when it's not, if that's okay. Just get something that's just like, even if it's a guideline, it doesn't even have to be an official policy. It's just like almost more like a procedure for whoever's in the ACO role of when it's appropriate, when you should wait for assistance, that sort of thing. It might be common sense to you, and you always put some language in there that, you know, any given circumstance, you know, may require an exception kind of thing, but I'd be more comfortable if we just had something in writing around it. Okay?
I mean, probably the bulk of the time, the police are gonna be there as well, but there have been circumstances that you explained that they were tied up and.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
so-
That's the big
whole
issue.
reason that this has
Yeah.
come up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because there's been one officer and it's taken
A while.
about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
And
No,
Other
understood.
than that, no, I have no issue with the police officers. Like I said, it's only for small animals. If it was something larger like a deer, I'm not even gonna bother. That would be a police issue right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Appoint transfer station manager Greg Afton. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Greg.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll just say, thank God Greg came forward because I thought he was a great person for the position. And I was fearful that we wouldn't get anyone, so
Well, it's-
I want to publicly say thank you, Greg, for stepping forward.
Yeah, and and it's perfect. It's one of those things where he wanted something very part-time,
Yeah,
and this is very part-time.
yeah, yeah.
And it's great. I was talking to him, he said he saw people he hadn't seen in a couple decades,
Yeah.
so,
Nice.
yeah.
He could run for mayor after being down there.
Absolutely.
All
He
right.
could run for mayor tomorrow, probably
All right.
meet both of those.
Item number 5, temporary transfer station manager hourly rate. When we appointed the temporary
Hey.
manager, we,
Actually, Mr. Chair,
Oh.
for starting wage, we're recommending $21.50 for Greg.
okay. All
Okay, and
right,
is that because of training requirements, or?
Well, the range was 20 to 22, and I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, similar to the.
Okay, 20 to 22.
the discussion. This way, we have that upward mobility for Greg once he's been on the job.
I'm sorry, what did you say? How much?
$21.50 per hour.
Right, that's the incumbent's wage, and he had been there
Okay.
for like a while.
Okay.
yeah, you've been there 11 years. Is that,
No, no, I'm fine, but okay.
so is that in your motion? The hourly
Yeah.
rate?
The hourly rate.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we appoint Greg Afton as the transfer station manager at the wage rate of $21.50.
Have a second.
Second, sorry.
Any other discussion? All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, now we'll get back on number 5. When we appointed a temporary person, we did not come up with an hourly rate, so what are we gonna do with that, Ron? What was
In
the,
discussions with Lori, and I believe the Board of Health also recommended a wage rate of $24 per hour.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Okay, now I'm confused.
Yeah, that doesn't make
Yeah,
any sense
yeah.
at all.
no.
And I have a feeling that would be the case.
I mean, I realize they stepped in to help for a short term, and maybe they'll be compensated a little more, but it's almost, a little slap to Greg so,
I would be very comfortable with $21.50 to be consistent with what we're giving Greg. As you indicated, it's very short hours, very few shifts that were filled that way.
Did we make any commitment? to either one of them about what they were getting paid? They were pretty much doing it to.
Just to help.
Why don't we just round it to 22 since it was such a short period of time and
I'm good with that.
and if that's what the job was posted at,
Yep.
then I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
All right, do you want a motion to that effect? I make a motion that we pay the folks that filled in temporarily $22 an hour.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, number 6, discussion of transfer station operations. Ron, you're gonna
Yes.
pick up where we,
Yeah, we've had some discussions with regards to the transfer station operations. Recent decision to have a no-cash policy was recently implemented, and as a result, there was some consternation, if you will, that was brought about throughout the community, having the no-cash policy indicating hardship, we didn't have checks, we didn't have the ability to not pay with cash down at the transfer station. Subsequently, myself, Chair Lepek from the Board of Health, Mr. Siri, Lori, Kyle, Brenda, and Katie sat together, kind of came up with some different ideas. Also, just double-checked, kind of better safe than sorry, with town council, indicating that there's no Mass General law indicating that you cannot have a no-cash policy. However, town council has also said, due to federal statutes, if it's challenged by someone who says, no, you have to accept cash, more than likely, if it's pushed hard enough, they're going to win. Win their challenge, and we would have to accept cash. So at this point, we're kind of in a quandary. Certainly the preference is that it's a no-cash policy. As we already indicated, over the last few Scanlon audit reports, it's been mentioned, although not specifically in the official report, that handling cash down at the transfer station is certainly not a best business practice, just because we don't have the controls down there that they would feel comfortable with. Lori is in complete agreement with the lack of controls down there. So that really kind of pushed in favor of the no-cash policy. Now, like I said, as we push back, plus with federal statutes and things like that, is whether or not we want to continue and just reaffirm the no-cash policy, or do we want to introduce some type of an alternative payment option. So at this point, it's a little bit up in the air.
I mean, frankly, I'm gonna be real quick on it. I'm good with checks. I'm like a dinosaur in the business, and I can bring a check to pay my bills. It's good record keeping, and it's not going to take away from the attendant down there to do the other types of pay. I think the no cash policy is good for the bulk of the people. I think there's less than a handful that are really bothered with the fact that they can't pay cash, but you know what, they could pay cash to Casella or a different provider if they want it, if they're that firm on paying cash. But I'm good with keeping the policy as it is with a check.
So my thought would be kind of twofold. Is that, and I wasn't playing with the phone for no reason, which is we may want to take a look at a cash kiosk.
That has been mentioned. And
Okay, it's that technology can solve a lot of things. We could get a kiosk that both accepts, you know, cards through touch payment and accepting cash. The same way if you go to CVS, there's a register and one of them can take cash and card, right? I think we could potentially, as a long-term solution, I'd say no cash, still accept checks, because those are a lot easier to track and keep the record of. But I think it would be a convenience if we could accept debit and credit cards, right? And if we wanted to also take cash, the technology exists to have something secured that could take the cash and then it could just get emptied on an appropriate workday.
So then the next problem is, where does the cash go when the transfer station closes? how does it get dealt with? How does it, so it just leads to other problems and other, and not that it
Right.
can't be resolved, but
Right.
it
Well,
just,
the-
I think once people get used to writing a check when they go to transfer, I feel like it will be accepted,
But not everybody has checkbooks. I mean, I know people with checking accounts
Yeah, I don't
that
have a checkbook, so I
Yeah,
can't be.
I mean, it's a generational
You
thing,
can
right?
go-
I
You can go to
Sorry.
the, when I run out of checks, I can go to the bank and I can get a bunch of temporaries. I can get as many as I want. So if someone has a checkbook, they can go get temporaries. As easy as coming up here and prepaying and then getting
Yeah,
some voucher.
or you can go to the post office and get a
Yeah,
money
yeah,
order
you
for,
wanna-
until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I get it, okay? What I'm saying is, I support not taking cash and going to checks for now. I don't think that should be the final solution if we're talking about providing real service to everyone in town, regardless of what their preference is. I don't think it's for us to impose our preference on how to do business on every person in town, so long as we can find a way that meets the security requirements, that meets the, like cash turnover requirements. So, and quite frankly, if one of those kiosks went in, there's ways to put them in that are secure them, that short of somebody coming in with a 1 ton and a chain, it could sit there until Tuesday when it could get cleared out and brought straight to the bank, right? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to handle that. And I think we probably owe it to the town to do research. Tonight, I'll support going no cash for now, but I think we should look into some of the other options. is what I'm
I
saying.
kind of want to know what like North Brookfield does, what Spencer does, like kind of what other towns do. I was talking to Mike a little bit, and Mike said maybe if we did like check only for stickers and then came up with something else. I'm not sure what the something else is, but I don't know. I don't, not saying that I'm on board with check only either, but I don't know. I don't have a checkbook, so I can't. I can't.
Fair enough.
So I would need an alternative if I was there.
Mike has also offered to accept
Yeah, it's
the money to.
money here.
On a Wednesday evening.
Yeah, on
He's
Wednesday
here till
night.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's kind of a learning curve, and once people get used to it, it's probably gonna be a pretty simple process, because in speaking to the couple different people that have been working down there, it's less than a handful of people. It's actually 3 different people, and 2 of them have been vocal about it, but it's really not a big situation. So I think we're,
Yeah, and I kind of, sorry not to interrupt you, Rich, but I kind of want to know, besides Facebook, really, what this, what the town thinks. Like, are they okay with check only? Do they like a debit card machine? Like I said, besides the people on Facebook, actual people that use the transfer station. If we could do like a survey or something, I don't know, now I'm like really brainstorming, but.
my only concern is the amount of time it's gonna take for the attendant, because he said it's very busy at times. So to learn this new opportunity, like whether it be a kiosk, like you're saying, Beth, or whatever it is gonna be a learning curve. It's gonna take him away from what he needs to be doing to, he can just tell someone the amount, they write the check and they give it to him. So, I don't know, maybe we give it 3 months or a couple months, and we talk to the new attendant down there and
Yeah, and
see what
how
he
it's
thinks, how
going,
he
yeah.
wants to.
Well, and
Make it
he'll be
better.
able to take, so the advantage of having Greg down there, right, is that, and to your point, I don't know if you want a formal survey, but he's the kind of guy, he would be willing to ask every human
That's
being
what I
that
mean.
went through
Yeah,
there.
like,
and
yeah,
just
somebody
get a-
that works
and
at the
just get a-
transfer
and just-
station
just
and
get a-
ask them, like,
and
do the
just-
people
just get a-
actually want-
Just get a feel, just
Yeah,
get a feel
feel
for it.
for- yeah,
So, I mean, I'd be down with 3 months, no cash, while he's getting settled in and figuring out the
Yeah.
process and learning the ropes, right? And then we can reevaluate it at that point, and then take a look at what some of our other options might be, right? So,
That should give us plenty of time. I can certainly reconvene that same group, and we can start discussing some alternatives, and then we can truly take the pulse after 3 months or so.
Yeah,
And then we'll know, okay, yes, we do need an alternative method, or...
or stick with the cash only, it's working, yeah, he doesn't have any real complaints, yeah.
Jeff, do you mind coming up?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not quite clear on this, but Jeff Clark, 101 Brunel Avenue, just a question on the kiosk. Isn't that one by like a third-party vendor, you have to subcontract for them to take care of all that, take the money away, and then they sort of set it
There's
up
different
electronically.
ones, there's different ones, different ways. We'd have to find out what all the different options
Yeah.
are.
Okay, but I mean, if that,
Ron.
if someone who's a third party, then that might take the, what Rich was concerned about as far as the logistics or something.
Out of it,
everything else.
it may take
Right.
it out of it, yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't see that, I mean, the people at CBS, they know how to, I guess they've been trained or something, but it doesn't seem to be a big deal with the checkouts now. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's, I mean, I think it's a possibility to look at in the future. But I'm just confused that I've never seen anything in the transfer station like this, you know, why not?
Yeah, that's why I kind
Thank
of
you,
wanted to
Jessica.
just know what other towns do. And we're kind of going off topic, but I kind of talked to Kyle about maybe taking on some responsibility of the transfer station, and he said
I
he,
did as well.
yeah, and he said he was on board with it, so I feel like Kyle also needs to be in on the conversation too.
Yeah, he's part of our board.
Yeah,
In fact,
Stop real quick, if that's okay.
he quickly noted during the discussion that he had quite a lengthy list of tasks and duties down there, so.
yeah,
Yeah. All right, are we good?
yeah, I'm good.
All right, item number 7, Apple Country Radio operations. Sharon, do you mind coming up? So I'm gonna let Ron, I'm gonna let you go first, and then if we have any questions, or would you like to know what the, I'm gonna let Ron go first. Ron, do you mind talking about number 1, we'll take a break and we'll let you get set up here if you want. That's okay.
People in the room
That's all right.
telling me they can't hear.
What's the information?
Let's see how quick I can do this. It is consistently the wrong one when I need to. There we go.
It needs to get
it's-
plugged right here,
Yeah, I
then it
missed,
will.
missed the one in the middle.
No, not yet. You just started at
It's
the
missing
beginning.
something.
There we go.
Looks better with- There you go.
All right, Ron, so there's been a couple of, one, there was a complaint regarding the Apple radio, so you got the complaint, so I'm gonna let you start there.
Yeah, a few days ago, I received probably a question/complaint with regards to the relocation of Apple Country Radio from the current Gavin location to Town Hall. And it was brought to my attention that some 8 to 10 years ago, a special permit was requested and granted to technically Apple C, which was the precursor for Apple Country Radio, to actually have operations down at Gavin. Evidently, during those specific, at that specific hearing and discussion regarding that special permit, it was mentioned that any relocation would necessitate a new special permit application. So when that was brought to my attention, I went in and started to do my research. And lo and behold, the citizen who called in was absolutely correct. It was back in August of 2016 was when the special permit discussion occurred and was actually granted to Apple, technically Apple C at the time. And as such, seeing as, okay, it looks like maybe we need a special permit in essence for Apple Country Radio to perform a relocation, I did reach out to the zoning enforcement officer, asked for his opinion. In fact, just yesterday, we had a fairly detailed discussion about that. And in his review of the zoning matrix, he said in his opinion, yes, that Apple Country Radio probably would need a special permit. He saw them as being more of a radio station than an educational organization. He saw them as a radio station with an educational component versus an educational organization with a radio component. So as such, in reading the owner's interpretation of the zoning chart, they would then need to request a special permit from the planning. So that's pretty much where we are right now. As I said, Nick has weighed in, and at this point, it does look like, certainly Nick's interpretation is that a special permit should be applied for as part of the relocation.
Okay. And then, Sharon, you and I had a conversation with Ron in his office, and my only concern at the time was that I would ask the board that we ask you not to broadcast until the special permit is sought and received. However, my personal opinion was to move forward with the repairs in the office. I would not ask you to stop that, but it's the board's decision. But I'm good with all of that continuing while the application is sought. And you were going to reach out to the planning board as well.
Which I have,
Okay.
and they're going to put me on the agenda. My question was, as Ron mentioned during his research, and as the CEO confirmed, there's a provision for radio stations, and there's also a provision for nonprofits not having to go through the special permit process. And number one, we're a different organization from Appleseed. And number two, that is not necessarily precedent for our organization. From my time on the planning board, each application is looked at individually, and each circumstance is regarded individually. I don't know, and I'm not in a position to say which of those two aspects of the use regulation table, which is the document that the CEO referenced, has precedence. I actually looked up case law because I had a raft of documents from my time on the board, and a lot of it depends on the organization. So I've asked the planning board to put me on their next agenda, I believe it's August 5th, and for them to consult town council. And they've agreed to do that. That's basically where I put it. As far as not broadcasting, well, obtaining a special permit will take a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks. We're already way behind schedule. We started this process 2.5 years ago. So I'm grateful that you don't want us to just call everything to a halt and, just sit in place until that part of the process is over with. I mean, we already had to go to Mass Historical Council, and it took them 2 months to get back to us about the antenna, and so on and so forth. As far as broadcasting goes, I've been trying to keep track of the time frame for the renovations to the space and for booking our broadcast engineer and our antenna guy, as we call him. And that hasn't been finalized yet, so it may well take 6 to 8 weeks to get to that point, to get everything in place before we broadcast. So what I'm proposing is that, given that you've talked to the CEO, I'd like to get the opinion of the town council through the planning board. And in the meantime, as you said, we will continue working on the space. I'm assuming you've seen the tours, they were fabulous.
They do, yeah.
And work on getting volunteers together for the move. As you know, we already have a rental agreement in place for both the antenna and the use of the space. So thankfully, that is not an obstacle at this point.
So I have a couple concerns. One, if you do want an opinion from town council, I would like you to pay for it rather than us to pay for the radio station. And I think that's kind of customary when we do a planning board type issue. When town council is sought, the applicant usually pays for it. So that would be one of my concerns. And the second is to work in there is absolutely fine, but not to broadcast until you actually have the special permit if it's required.
Which is already mentioned.
So I would like to hear from the board.
So I'm going to ask what's probably a stupid question.
Bring it on.
it seems like to me, so even though I think it's ridiculous that for moving about 400 feet down the road, that we would have to go through the process of another special permit, probably by the letter of the law, it's going to require a special permit. We went for it once, establishing the radio station in the first place. I don't really feel like we need town council. I think it would be more advantageous just to contact the board, get a public hearing put up, and just, you could probably beat that 6-week mark by just asking for the public hearing now, and probably beat your radio dudes that have to do all your antenna crap. So, excuse my language, but sorry for the technical terms. The radio dudes that need to do all the antenna crap, okay?
Yep.
Just apply for the special permit and let's just be done with it.
I've already drawn up the documents.
You know, so do I think it's ridiculous that moving it 600 feet into the town hall, we're gonna say that it's a change in zone from what the original special permit is? I think other than the change in address, this is yet another instance where people are trying to use, people are functionally trying to deny the town services and use of things, and we can't have nice things in this town because there's folks that have an axe to grind, okay? So, God bless them, just apply for the permit. Let's not worry about town council. Let's have it get reviewed. By God, if anybody shows up speaking out against a bunch of really good late 60s, early 70s, and an occasional delve into the 80s music radio station, and they're going to come fight it at a public meeting in front of the planning board, God bless them.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to do that. And I've been an advocate for the radio station. I like the music. I happen to stumble across it, and I like it. But the problem is, we have a process that we have to deal with.
And that's fine.
Right? So you saying just 400 feet down the road, yeah, but if we allowed every business, the planning board wouldn't allow that in a different circumstance. So let's just follow the procedure, and I think it'd be a total waste of money to ask town council. I read the bylaw as well as the opinion of Nick. I think it's spot on, and I say expedite it as quick as you can.
I have no objection to that, but I want to explain why I wanted town council to weigh in. It's because I've read 5 different case studies on this type. First of all, the amendment is Chapter 48, Section 3. It's called the Dover Amendment, named after an entity that first prompted the state to put this amendment in place for nonprofits, as well as a bunch of other organizations, including religious and education. I've read all of the case law, and it really depends on the organization, as the CEO said, but each case is parsed differently.
Right.
And the reason that I talked about maybe getting town council involved is because I wanted to know exactly where we stood. For example, there was one radio station called Worcester Christian Community Station, and the state came down on the side of, actually it was KP Law, came down on the side of not granting this exemption because out of all the programming they were doing, their quote-unquote religious aspect was only 4 hours of sacred music a day. So they felt that the religious aspect of their programming did not apply to the Dover Amendment. The other reason they were denied is because the word religious did not appear in their state articles of incorporation. On every single document that Apple Country Radio has, we stress our educational function, including our articles of incorporation, and have since the beginning. And that includes the FCC license that we hold, and it also includes the 501c3 document from the IRS. So that was the reason, let me finish, that was the reason why I wanted to consult town council. I wanted to see where in the meter of educational organizations we fell. And that was my reason for suggesting that the planning board look into this. If for no other reason, that it would give them a baseline in case another organization came in and decided to come to them with the same request.
So when this permit was originally sought, back in, was it 19 or 14? I'm getting a little confused on the dates. Was under
16.
Appleseed, was it? I'm sorry?
16.
16? Was that sought under educational back then?
We didn't know about the educational exemption. Appleseed did not know about the educational exemption. That's why we applied.
Okay.
know
So
about
that's
it.
what I
So
was
you
trying to
didn't know,
figure out.
yeah, so at the time, you were just doing it because of the letter of the planning laws, and you didn't realize that this exemption actually existed.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Now we do, but we don't know.
Where you
for
fall on
sure.
the spectrum, whether it's
Exactly.
applicable to you or not.
That's right.
That's fair.
And then the only other thing that I was brought to my attention was under the state ethics requirements. So I asked Ron to check into that also. So it looks like, Ron, go ahead, you might as well.
Yeah, well, once again, put on my research hat, and I did find, it's actually right from the state ethics website, talking about the gratuities for public employees. So one of the things that they had indicated was if you are a state, county, or municipal employee, and I believe, at least at the time, no longer a poll worker, but surely was a poll worker, conflict of interest laws generally prohibit you from accepting gifts worth $50 or more. Here's the rub. If they are given to you because of your position or because of an action you have taken as a public employee, there are some exemptions, blah, blah, blah. So the $50 limit, if you will, they specifically tie to if given to you because of your position or because of an action you have taken as a public employee. So I think as a poll worker, probably less so. I think it becomes a little bit grayer with Kevin Merkle being part of the director. Is that
He's on the board of directors.
Board of directors.
He also upfront plans to recuse himself from any inquiry to the planning board.
Yes. And so that's where it gets probably a little bit grayer. But, once again, do we want to go to town council with regards to that?
If he's planning on recusing himself, why would we go to town council?
I think this is in relation to the $1 rent, whether or not that could be considered a gift because it's below market value.
I'm not sure what you mean by gifts. I don't understand what that has to do with the permit process.
No, this has to do more with, and Rich, correct me if I'm wrong, this has more to do with the $1 for the rents, the rental agreement, $1 per year for the green room, and whether or not that would be considered a gift because it's below market value for rental of space.
The rental, the $1 rental was not for the green room. It was for the mezzanine above it. If you recall, the agreement that we all signed called for Apple Country Radio to pay $175 a month
For utilities.
for utilities, correct. And that would approximate what the rent would be, the idea being that we would reimburse the town for the electricity. The $1 a year was for the privilege of putting the antenna on the clock tower.
I don't have the agreement here in front of me. Well, I believe it was $1 was the rent, and the $175 per month was the utility reimbursement.
So he's a non-paid member of a non-profit board.
Correct.
So a non-paid member of a non-profit board.
Actually, still, believe it or not, considered an employee.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well, I know it's an employee, but you can't show any type of benefit because he's a non-paid member of a nonprofit board, right? If this was a nonprofit that paid their directors, and because of us giving them that rent at $1, there was a greater amount of money remaining to pay out their directors whatever stipend that they would get, then we would be materially assisting that nonprofit in having that amount of funds available to disperse to their directors.
I understand that.
You understand what I'm
and
saying?
we're not-
So
and
this-
no one's circumventing that, but I
Right.
think the question is whether it meets the ethics requirement or not. Does it draw scrutiny because of the ethics requirement and the amount of compensation that is given as a result of having that room rent free, right? So in a 12-month period, you can't accept more than a $50 amount in the ethics training. Well, now we're crossing into significantly more than $50 in value.
That's if you're, but that's if you're accepting it from a member of the public. So what you're trying to say is that,
But I had Ron look, and he specifically said employees was not, it's not just accepting it from the member of a public.
I'm still not sure of the issue.
they're saying that by Kevin being a member of the board of directors, that he's a public official accepting some gift from some entity, which apparently it's the town gifting it to the nonprofit, which the whole concept is that it's value exchange from members of the public to get some sort of favor from the government. So it's like backwardsville, that interpretation. That interpretation is totally, the flow is totally opposite of what the ethics laws are intended to preclude.
I have no objection if this board wants to consult town council on that, that's fine, because I happen to agree with Beth. I don't see the relevance here. Also, you folks signed a contract with us, and this didn't even come up.
Yeah. We just can't have nice things.
And we worked on that, Ron, you remember, we worked on that contract for almost 5 months.
And 2 boards.
So I just want to make it very clear that this has been brought to my attention after the fact. I signed that contract with the other 2 board members, and I don't have anything personally against this.
I'm not saying it is personal.
However, it was brought to my attention, the ethics of it, and I just don't want to, as the chairman of the board, I don't want to step into something, and now I know, and I want to make it clear. I wasn't aware of it when we signed the contract. I'm not trying to thwart it. I'm just making it very clear that it's been brought to my attention to do with the ethics of it, and I want to make a full, I just want to put it out there.
And
So-
I'm not saying that I've taken it personally. I've
Yeah,
never indicated that since I sat
Yeah,
here or spoke with you.
Yep, yep. No, Sharon, I just want to be upfront, that's all. So,
So where do
I-
we leave this?
I was trying to look at the law. I don't know.
well, we haven't revoked your lease, right? So I think
Yeah.
I think that's a good start, right? No one's suggesting that.
And
but
I've said,
I
if you
think
want to
it's-
consult town council about this ethics thing, go right ahead. I mean, it's not like I can stop you anyway.
Yeah,
But I just don't see, personally, and as someone who has availed herself of town council as chair of the planning board, and as someone who knows how to do a deep dive into the documents, I really don't see how this is going to affect things.
We have a hand raised.
okay. Are you done, Sharon? Do you mind if I take, are you done speaking for the moment?
Sure.
Okay. All right, Chris, go ahead.
Hi. Yeah, I just want something really quick. The Massachusetts State Ethics Commission offers the lawyer of the day. Call in the morning, you get to speak to a lawyer for free if you are a municipal employee. So you can call and say, hey, I'm Kevin from the planning board, this is my situation, and they will guide you, give you advice, and it's absolutely free. And it covers the town, it covers Kevin, and it costs nothing. That's it.
Thank you.
That's a very, I forgot about that. That's a very good point. Thank you, Chris.
I was going to suggest we just call the ethics board and find out, but it's probably better for Kevin to call them. So,
As long as people don't have a problem with Kevin making the call.
I don't.
oh, absolutely
I
not.
mean, I don't want an accusation made that because he made the call, that is unethical.
Well, no, I think.
No,
It's
I've
for
called
that
before. They
purpose.
call, they take down his name, his number, they create like a whole file.
He's
I know
never-
how it
Yeah,
works. I've
yeah,
done it before.
yeah, so
He's
that's
never,
fine.
Kevin is never going to say they said this and he said
Said
that.
this, yeah.
It's going to
Better not.
be. Yeah. So, all right.
But as I've said, as far as the practical aspects of this go, it's going to take some time for us to make the space usable. We want to make, as I've said, we want to make it look better than the way we found it.
It already is.
Yes, it is, but we want to continue that work. Also, I'm working with Jacob, the cable access coordinator. We're both going to share the space. So there's a sort of a double bonus there. Both media organizations sharing a space, working together, hopefully, with audio and video. And so we're going to continue working on that. We've been working on this together. We'll continue the work, and I will keep this board apprised of how the timing is going to work out with regard to the permitting process.
Yeah.
Unless you'd rather talk to the planning board directly, I have no objection to that either.
I think it's good if you just keep us informed of how you make it.
Yeah, with the timeline and if the planning board timeline and how they're gonna match up.
Well, you know how I feel. Too much information is better than not enough.
Fair enough.
Okay,
Well, thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Number 8, discussion on town council's
I'd like to
rates.
speak on this thing.
On which?
Radio.
Come on up. Ron, is that the time?
Yeah, Dave Forecraft, 26 Elm Road. I'm going to do the best I can in 2 minutes here. First of all, Beth, no one's trying to act something going on in our town that's good. That's not the issue here. I'll tell you what the issue is here. She's supposed to get a special permit. She hasn't done it. When they changed ownership, the ownership now is under Sharon Mahoney and her husband. It used to be a corporation, and that corporation had some of the members were Don Taft, Philip Pierce, Mark Lev, Kathleen Wild. It was a corporation back in the day. Now those two own it separately. You're using the town hall free, okay? So the issue here is, do we need a special permit for this radio station from moving from Gabbard's to here? The answer is yes. She's trying to say she's an educational, religious radio station, and in that case, you don't need a special permit. But that's not the case yet. It's all music. Even back when she filed this thing back in, 2016, she said the same thing, educational and all that other stuff. Nothing's changed. You gotta get a special permit. She's not doing that. She's doing music. The last 10 years has been just music, and she knows it. So, trying to get around it, trying to get around by not doing a special permit, it's not gonna work. And she's been a chairman on the planning board for years, and so has Kevin. They know what the law is. I don't care if it's 20 feet away from the town hall. It's a new location. It's gotta have a special permit, okay? I'm tired of everybody trying to do the little favors for everybody, and she on the planning board is trying to mislead us in not having to get a permit and calling attorneys. We don't need to call attorneys, it's right in the bylaws. And then you got the town hall renovation committee. They're gonna sand floors, change all the locks up there for them? No. That's it,
Yeah, 2 minutes.
okay? I made my point.
Thank you.
Get a permit.
Yeah, come on.
My response to Mr. Holcraft is as follows. He has objected to us using this space from the beginning. He put us on the yellow sign to that effect. Number 2, we are going to apply for a special permit, so I don't see the issue. Number 3, we are not a religious organization, which is how he described us. Number 4, we are a corporation. We have articles of incorporation filed with the state. And finally, I must say I resent the implication that we're trying to mislead anybody. I am here with the board, we're working out a solution and a time frame, and I don't see where this accusation of misleading comes in. If someone objects to us moving into the space, they should just come out and say so, instead of throwing stuff against the wall and seeing if it's going to stick. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, do I get a rebuttal for 2 minutes?
No, she's on the agenda to talk about the operations, and we got a lot of stuff left on the agenda. We're
Not
gonna
gonna
move
change
forward.
much.
A question. Have any of you donated to the radio station?
I have-
No.
I don't think I have, no. I kept on thinking I was gonna, but no.
I can answer that if you already know. Okay. Has any select board member or planning board member donated to your radio station? Can you share?
I don't think
No.
I have.
I'm not aware of it. I know I haven't.
I haven't. I don't listen to the radio, so.
Excuse me, Rich, can I say something?
You
A
can.
technical issue? A
Yep.
technical issue. I'd like to, there's a technical issue when the people in the audience, I couldn't hear anything that the chair of the board of health said. Absolutely nothing. So when people are speaking from the audience, is there any way that they could use either the handheld mic or come up to the table? I didn't hear anything that was said at all.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, the question, just so that you're aware, Chris, is whether or not any members of the select board or any members of the planning board had donated to the radio station.
All right, I appreciate you for including me in that. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. So number 8, discussion regarding town council rates. It's in our packet. So I have not had a chance to look at those and absorb them. So I would like to just move this for our next meeting, give everyone a chance to take a look at them, unless someone wants to talk about it this evening. Sarah?
No, I kind of want to do my research.
Okay. Beth, do you have anything regarding the rates?
No, because I think there's more to service than rates, and they're at least in family. So I think what we really need to consider, and it's probably the research that you're thinking of doing, is level of like client satisfaction
Yeah.
with them. Because I think whenever you're making sorry about that, whenever you're making a decision about who to get services with, granted there's a lot of, like we're doing purchasing and contracts, there's a lot of requirements the state puts on us about how we procure stuff, right? But when like normal companies are making purchase decisions, there's kind of like this rubric around quality, delivery, technical competence, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm happy with you to kind of
Yeah.
sideline this and find out some more information
Yeah.
about what other towns' experiences have been with
Perfect.
other councils.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
Just as an FYI, as I was reaching out to these law firms, I was also reaching out to some of the clients. And each of the firms that are listed on the chart, the clients were all quite satisfied with the work that was being performed.
Well, that's good to know.
I
Good,
hate to
thank
say
you.
it, but I want to know like the not satisfied people.
I made some more phone calls.
All right. Number 9, American Disability Act accommodations, select board discussion and vote. So I think I want to tie that into that web form so we can kind of address both of them at the same time.
yep.
So we're going to take number 17 and 9 together. So Ron had an opportunity to be in court last week, so we're gonna
I call it an opportunity.
It is an opportunity.
so we're gonna hear from you first, Ron, and basically we'll start with the web form versus what we're doing and whether we're doing it right or not.
Well, I'll start with the existing policy.
Okay.
Which is on the bottom of our agenda and several other board agendas. And there was, the opportunity I had was in court 2 weeks ago now at this point, was part and parcel due to the ADA accommodations process in which the town utilizes via its policy. And the district court judge, Judge Mahoney, had specifically asked, provided her some information with regards to what our policy was. She read through it, she had a few questions for me as well, and in her own words, she had deemed our existing policy, as it's on the bottom of our agenda this evening, as being practical, reasonable, and as such should be adhered to if ADA accommodations are to be provided. And that was in essence part of her decision with that particular court session.
I just want to say, you said Judge Mahoney, you meant Judge McCarthy. I just want to make that clear. Okay.
Thank you for that. So the judge has ruled the existing policy as being good, as being applicable, reasonable, and could be utilized to satisfy an ADA accommodation request. So based upon that, I have to admit I have trepidation about deviating from that. kind of a seal of approval, if you will, from a district court judge, I think carries a little bit of weight with regards to any other challenges that may come up.
Yeah. And then the only thing I wanted to add was, Beth, you talked about the possibility of moving it down from 48 hours to 24 based on scheduling and just possibility. And Jacob spoke up in that meeting and he said that he could probably do the 24. Well, after that meeting, several days later, he said, you know, I thought about that and I have some reservations about stating that I can do the 24. He says he feels more comfortable with the 48 hours. So based on that, I'm comfortable with keeping it at the 48 hours. So, but, you know, this is not a lot, I don't have a lot of experience with this, so I'm going to hear everyone's point and then we'll make a decision,
So one of the things that was raised to my attention in the interim is that there's a tendency of our boards to post things very close to the 48-hour notice. So within the last 2 weeks, we've had one select board meeting go up, I think 48 hours and 3 minutes prior to the meeting, okay? And I think it was either Conservation Commission or Cemetery Paving or somebody else that posted like 1 minute prior to the 48-hour mark, okay?
No, it wasn't one of us.
It wasn't.
I posted those.
Okay, all right. It was maybe it was Board of Health. I don't know. It was somebody. Okay, okay. So
And we're posting it now, if you know.
right, but we've had some go up right prior, right? So my only concern, right, is that if we're doing regarding the whole 48-hour issue, right, is that if we're posting that close to the deadline, it's not a reasonable amount of time for the person to know if they're going to need to request accommodations or not.
Well, on the other hand, we have accepted accommodations less than that 48 hours,
Right.
but we are looking for some type of guideline, and I think the 48 hours meets that guideline. And the other factor that we're talking about, we canceled the Board of Health meeting, the Select Board meeting last Thursday afternoon. However, it was rescheduled for this evening, and technically, it was a lot more than 48 hours, because we can't account for Saturdays and Sundays, right? But that's more than 96 hours if you take the true numbers involved. So let's face it, someone knows whether they're gonna go to a meeting or not, and more than likely, they know. And and there's never an intent to post just before that 48 hours. And if a board did miss it and said 48 hours and 1 minute, that's a freak circumstance. That's not the norm here. So I don't see that, you know, there's no one that's looking to circumvent that in any way, shape, or form, or prevent someone from attending remotely. So I think I'm good with the 48 hours. Go ahead, Ron.
And I absolutely hear Beth's concern, but I can assure you, because Jacob is as dedicated and as good as he is, we've had requests come in at 24 hours, maybe even a little less than 24 hours before, and we've been able to accommodate that. And we do that. If someone's going to call 40 hours, hey, I want to attend that meeting and I need these ADA accommodations, we are going to bend over backwards trying to accommodate that person.
The only thing I do want to say is I know Mr. Carmen put some work into the form. So, and I know his time is very valuable, and I'm backtracking now because I said, well, let's go forward with this form. He put the time and effort into it, and now after the court date that you had last week or 2 weeks ago, I'm good with the system that we have. But that's me personally.
So here's my thought, right? We don't lose anything by enhancing our capability for recording the request through the form, right? So functionally speaking, right, what the judge said was reasonable and adequate, which is our current statement that gets posted, right? That says email requests to Brookfield MA or call this number, right? it does not functionally change the validity of our accessibility to replace that email link with a form link for people to fill out that gives the structured information so that we can give the proper accommodation. Okay? Because the intent of the form, right, is to ensure that we have an explicit permanent record in an accessible format that includes very specifically the information needed to properly meet the individual's needs, okay, in a structured manner, right? I think even though the judge says this is adequate, I don't think we hurt our position by making it better than adequate, in my opinion, especially since the work's already been done, right? And it shows, it's just like a bunch of stuff in this, which if you, did anyone find you a copy of the real ADA plan? This is copy 4, so 3 others exist.
I have one now.
So did we get it scanned yet and put online?
No, do not get it scanned.
Okay, so you have one, or do I need to give up my copy?
I have a copy.
Okay,
Unless you took that from my office.
I did not take that from your office. That thing's, trust me.
Actually, I thought it was already online, no?
Only the draft one was online, according to Mr. Carmen, and I trust Mr. Carmen that whenever something falls out of his mouth, that it's been verified. So I'm of the opinion, I don't think we hurt ourselves by making our accommodation process stronger and more streamlined, is my opinion.
So who is that form going to be emailed to?
It's not emailed to anybody, it's,
So it's just, they fill it out and they send it in, and who's going to receive the form? Ron and Jacob?
I could speak to it if you'd like.
yeah, I kind of have a question
Sure.
too for either one of you, I guess. So the link is gonna be out, you know, on the internet, so anybody, like, so that, I guess my concern and other people's concerns, like, could somebody from like California put in a request, and like from other states and put in a request and ask for accommodations? But they can do that now, right?
Yeah, I mean, they could email.
Technically speaking,
Right?
if somebody from California wants an accommodation, they're entitled to an
It
accommodation
should,
at our meeting. So-
right now, currently.
Right.
So,
So yes,
okay.
they could fill that out. Is the concern like maybe frivolous, like people filling it out and?
Yeah, or some kind of
Using it as
scam
like a
or
something.
spam, I don't know, yeah.
I mean, people can do a lot of things.
But I feel like
I
you
mean,
could do that now too, right?
Right.
They could scrape this email address
Yeah,
off
that's
of
what I
any
mean,
one of
off
our
of the
agendas
agenda, yeah.
and
right,
just
from
do
the
it.
entire website.
Yeah, if they really wanted to.
You know, we are integrating some anti-spam measures into our email platform. We have pretty
Yeah, yeah.
robust
I like how you
security
asked the car question.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, there's that, but there's also anti-spam measures on our email platform, and we have robust security here.
Okay.
So yeah, if that's the concern, I think we've done a pretty decent job of mitigating that.
So tell
Okay.
me how the form is better than what we have.
So the principal purpose of the form, in my view, and for my benefit, is just so I have a list, because it'll put it into a spreadsheet for me on my end, no matter who fills it out, right? If somebody doesn't have a computer or doesn't have a tablet and wants to, you know, call up Karen's office or Ron's office and give them that information over the phone, it will also guide Karen or Ron in what to ask
to
for. And then it makes it very consistent so that I have a record of it and I can make sure that I meet. Because right now it's just been Teams, but it could be lots of other things. And you know, I'm more than happy to provide the accommodation if I know about it.
What would be some other examples of accommodations?
I'll give you one. You could turn the Teams transcript on for somebody that's hearing impaired,
Okay.
for example.
I mean, these are, you know, a good example. Like tonight, I was missing a component to the system, so I used a different type of microphone and then forgot about people in the room. So people in the room couldn't hear, so I had to kind of, at the last minute, set the system back up.
Okay.
So that's something that, you know, I need to, you know, if I have it in writing, it helps me to be aware of things that I might otherwise forget.
Okay.
Because I am human, despite
All right, you're done.
All right.
I fail a lot of the you are human, like, checks on the internet. It takes me 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
So,
and then to answer the earlier question about who it goes to, it sends a copy to me, to Ron, and to Karen.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure we do it.
Okay.
and there is one thing that I did also want to bring up in this context, is that one thing we should likely add to this, whether it's via the form or whether it's via the statement that we currently have, is that all requests will be handled confidentially. Because for certain types of accommodations and certain types of disabilities, you start to kind of tap dance with regards to like HIPAA rules and privacy information
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I think one thing that we have to be very cognizant of is to be respectful of these requests relative to the reason for them. The type of accommodation would be public record, but I think that the reason for them needs to be treated as confidential personal information.
Why are we even asking for a reason for the accommodation?
Right.
So to answer, we don't.
We don't.
Okay.
We don't on that form. My organization, Every, is fully HIPAA compliant.
Yep.
And PCI compliant, SOC 2 compliant, so.
But
we
if
make
that,
sure
but if that information is in there, it needs to be treated
Right.
that way, like,
Yeah, and if there was ever, a public record request for that, we can redact it under the rules for redaction, so.
Okay.
yeah, and that's something that we should probably brief all of our chairs on, is that that sort of information is considered personal information.
And if you'd like, I can actually, we can put a sort of a loud disclaimer on the form that please do not include personal or sensitive
Information.
Simply
Yeah.
provide the request.
Yeah, we actually do that for ITAR information for stuff, like, there's certain forms that we say, please don't include any international
Personally,
trade
yeah,
type stuff, so, yeah, flashing red ANSI, right?
Exactly.
So,
All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
So, what's your pleasure? So you want to add to the forms before we,
So, no, I think that what's here is great. I think, I don't think it's a huge thing to just add please don't include, anything that you don't want to be public record inside of the form. I think that's,
About 5 minutes.
yeah, right. I mean, it'd take longer to open the file than it will to actually make the edit.
Yeah.
And just change the email request to, please go to this link, fill out the form or call, and we'll fill it out for you. So, and then you don't even need a text change, because then it'll be on the form saying, hey, don't include any information that you don't want to be public record.
so then that would be for our board, and each individual board in the town hall would handle their own policy? Like, we can't tell the Board of Health, or we could probably ask the Conservation, but we can't tell the Planning Board that they are gonna adopt this policy that we're putting forward. So is this just for the Select Board, or what?
I think that's an interesting question.
Because they're their own autonomous board, right? So they make their own rules.
I think the select board could strongly suggest, based upon the discussion we've had this evening, but I agree.
Yeah, and.
We no authority over to.
No, we have no authority.
That's
Also, I just noticed there's a hand up.
there's a hand up, okay.
Okay. Chris, go ahead.
So, Mr. Chairman, respectfully, since you combined 2 agenda items, I respectfully have 4 minutes to give the board some valuable information.
No, that is not correct. We're taking both of these as one, so you have 2 minutes.
Okay, so very short, very fast. Steve Kermit gave everybody a link to Melrose. Melrose is doing it right. They are 100% ADA in compliant. If you look at their website, exactly how they have it, it's 100% compliant with the ADA. just like the ethics boards, the ADA has a toll-free hotline that the government can call and get direction from. So you guys can get direction from them to get questions answered directly from the ADA. This 48-hour policy, it's an arbitrary timeline. And where did that come from? It used to be 7 days. That's what was the policy. It used to be a 7-day policy. You have to give notice 7 days in advance. When meetings were only being scheduled 3 to 5 days. And the library still uses that 7 days. The emails that Beth was talking about, they're highly confidential, all of them. They fall under 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. Those emails should not be going across an email blast to multiple boards. I became the victim of that when I sent a highly confidential ADA accommodation request, and it was given to a private citizen up on Molasses Hill Road. I mean, that's a serious exposure to the town. You need to have a Title II ADA coordinator. You gotta Mr. Smith is our ADA Title II coordinator. He handles all those requests. That's how Melrose does it. That's all the professionals do it. You just call the ADA hotline, they'll tell you this. It's free, it costs the town nothing, no legal fees. And Ron, I have to respectfully disagree with you on Judge McCarthy's quote-unquote ruling.
Chris, are you done? Did we lose Chris?
I don't know, I was speaking pretty fast. I have 2 minutes. I mean, I don't think I was watching the clock.
What was your interpretation of the ruling, Chris?
At the end, Judge McCarthy actually revised the 258E order because she was unsatisfied with the accommodation shenanigans. So she made it so that I could attend in person.
I asked for follow-up, so he's done.
Are we moving on?
All right. So,
Steve?
again, oh, I'm sorry, come on up, Steve.
Steve Carmen, 44 Town Farm Road. I did send some information to the select board a couple of weeks ago based on a request of participating in this policy. And as Chris mentioned, there is a distinction between Title I and Title II requests. And for the town of Brookfield, we do have a Title I accommodations point of contact with Beth, but we don't have one on record for Title II. So I think that is certainly something that we should account for. And as Chris mentioned, that Melrose does have separate ADA accommodation forms for Title I and Title II requests. So what we're discussing here seems to be more in line with the Title II requests, which are those from the public, as opposed to employees. Mm-hmm. That's the distinction between Title I and Title II, employee and the public. So whether you go with the form approach, my feelings are not going to be hurt either way. I just wanted to help. That's it. Yeah. If it streamlines the process and it's convenient, then I think that's great. Same thing with the select board's purview over what other boards do. If this ADA accommodations policy is valuable to other boards beyond your jurisdiction and it helps them with their process, then why not promote it?
Exactly.
As opposed to getting into the nitty-gritty, like, well, they don't have to listen to you, but why not provide something that makes everybody's life easier? It makes Jake's life easier too. Mm-hmm. So I'll just leave it at that. But I sent some other information about where we stand on accommodations in an email. I sent it to all of you to make sure that you got it. But as I stated in the email, I am not a voice of authority on this. I'm just a member of the public trying to help. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, again, what do you want to do with the form? You want to adopt it? You guys
I make a
gonna
motion that we adopt it.
I'll second.
All right. Seems like we already had our discussions, so
Yeah.
we're good with the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Number 10, ADA with Disabilities Act Coordinator discussion.
Mr. Chair, we did technically vote on 9, the actual policy. We had discussion about it, but we did not actually have a motion.
I thought that's what Beth just did, made the motion to use the form.
Yeah, which is the policy.
But now the policy should be amended or just authorize the town administrator to amend the policy.
Oh, okay. So I just assumed Beth's motion would supersede this, but we'll remove the other policy. So, but with the form,
Wait, I have a question. Why are we amending the policy?
So, 'cause the-
Aren't we just adding the web form as another option?
Exactly, yeah. But to build that actually into the policy.
I thought doing the form almost superseded the old policy, but
No, they're both. The policy still,
Okay.
the existing policy still stands,
with
but
the 48 hours.
yeah, and this,
Yeah.
but you have the option to do the web form.
Correct, what I'm suggesting.
So it's not just the web form. So if I don't have access and I don't know anything about this web form,
You could just call.
I could just literally call Karen still and say, hey, I want an
Yep.
ADA accommodation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so I'm just asking the board to vote to authorize myself to just literally add the web form link.
oh, okay, all right. I was
So
like, what are we
in essence,
amending?
We'll have three options for
Three
us.
options,
Yeah.
okay.
Email, phone call, or web form.
Or web form, okay.
So we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Number 10, the coordinator discussion. So where do we go with tier 1, tier 2? I guess I would entertain a motion to have Ron
Be title,
Take care of-
ti- ti-
yeah.
title two?
be Title II coordinator as well as Title I to take care of both. What are your thoughts about you're kind of in the position, but I don't know if it was by default or that you wanted to be, but now that we have a full-time employee, where do you stand with that?
That's a good question. So you don't have enough on your plate?
I was gonna talk about a stipend.
So here's the thing. I've stayed out of a lot of the engagement on this because Ron has been so engaged. But I also think it's good for us to have more than one oar in the water, so to say, so that we don't wind up spinning ourselves in circles. I think I do need to get a little bit more engaged on it. I've left it to Ron because he has been so hands-on with it. But I think that there's some opportunity to potentially drive some of the larger ADA discussion and get back to what we were doing a couple of years ago, which is whenever any big project came along, that we were ensuring that we went back to this, and even small projects, right, with the Town Hall Improvement Committee, that when we're touching stuff and had the opportunity, that we had somebody who didn't have to deal with the everything, that could get with the different entities that were working on things and be able to kind of get into those details. So my preference would be to stay Title I, to appoint you as Title II, dealing with the public, right? And then I think that way we've got a couple of different people who are engaged in different aspects of that rather than dumping it all on Ron. That's how I would see it.
And if we do it that way, then Beth can be my backup, be Beth's backup.
Exactly. So I think that would be a reasonable approach to take. So, and clearly there's more of a demand now than there was a couple of years ago when I accepted the position. So I plan on spending some time there's a weekly open office hours with the ADA folks. The main guy was on vacation last week, so I left him to get another week of getting caught up in the office before I dump kind of the entire menu of what we're dealing with right now with our town. So I was figuring on tagging up with the state office maybe next week and try to get a real framework for how we hit the reset button, getting on the right side of the angels. So I prefer to work with Ron, with him being Title II and me being Title I. That's my
Okay.
preference.
All right. Well, I'll entertain a motion for Ron to be our Title II ADA coordinator.
So we've got a hand raised.
And
Oh, go ahead, Chris.
So again, going back to Miller Roads, to be fully compliant with the ADA, you guys should have a grievance form. So if I send one an accommodation request and he doesn't respond to me by email and text, that I have a grievance route to go down. That would be fully ADA compliant. And I'm really concerned about training because I'm not looking to bash anybody. I know that some people don't know the rules, don't know the law. But if somebody sends an ADA accommodation request, there's supposed to be an interactive process. You can't just say, nah, I don't like what he asked for, I'm not going to respond at all. And just leave that to the person with the disability guessing. That is completely against the law. So there should be, if the person's asked for something the town can't do, the Indian, whether it's Title 1, Title 2, should come out and say, no, we really can't do that. Would this work? Would that work? And there should be dialogue back and forth, rather than just ghosting the person. So I'm really concerned about the training. And like I said, there's a whole manual from the DOJ, 100% free for municipalities, and you can call the 800 number during the business hours. So I don't want to see that the town keep going into this, setting up a scenario where we're going to fail.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
the other option is we could also just appoint me as both Title I and Title II.
Beth, do you mind just letting Chris finish his statement without interrupting?
I thought he was done.
No.
Chris, were you done?
I was done. I was done.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other option would be, is that I could take on Title II as well.
I'm not going to fight you on it.
So,
The
I
only
am.
concern.
It's fine the way it is. I think having two people I'm okay with.
okay.
Beth and
That's
Ron.
fine.
And if
Yeah.
we want to do something in the future, we can always revisit it.
Yep, I agree.
Know about that stipend I was talking about.
Good luck.
No stipend for the Title II, it's for the Title I.
There's no stipend for the Title I.
What's that?
There's no stipend for the Title I.
I'm busted, Ron. You're the number one, yeah, I'm busted.
Anything but Ron. Anything but Ron, basically.
All right, we're all done.
I didn't hear a whole motion. Are you going to motion to make one Title II ADA coordinated?
Yeah, you had
Yeah.
a motion and we voted it, yeah.
Yep.
Sarah second.
Okay, number 11, library annex discussion. Beth, I checked with Karen to have her check with you and Holcraft, so I'm not sure who, excuse me, Mr. Holcraft. I'm not sure who put that on air, or was it you or Mr. Holcraft?
Didn't he ask to be on the agenda?
He did, but I asked Karen to,
I don't remember who told me to put it on, to tell you the truth, but I was told to put it on. And it wasn't by Mr. Holcraft, I wouldn't put it on for, you're the one who has the final word. Did you ask me that?
I can answer that question. Last meeting, we were going to discuss it, and you guys all said you would take it at the next meeting.
Meeting.
Oh, that's what it was.
So here we are.
Carried over.
So here we are.
Here we are.
So,
I could provide some background.
Okay.
With regards to that. The Wayback Machine, approximately a little over a year ago, there was an issue, and actually an open meeting law complaint that was filed regarding, I believe it was a Conservation Commission meeting that was held at the library annex. The open meeting law complaint was responded to, it was sent off to the Attorney General's office, and the Attorney General's office did determine that yes, that the meeting was in violation of the open meeting laws because the library annex, as it is currently situated, is not ADA accessible or compliant, and as such, was not a suitable location for an official town meeting.
Yes.
So that was the determination provided, like I said, maybe a year or so ago. Subsequent to that, town council has reaffirmed their opinions to reaffirm that.
so can I ask what may seem like a stupid question? If it's requested within 48 hours, we're currently supporting remote engagement at open meetings. So what is the difference, functionally speaking, between a meeting occurring here and someone making an ADA request for whatever disability they have, and holding a meeting in that building and somebody making an ADA accommodation
Well, I think it's
request.
really clear, the fact that we have a wheelchair ramp here allows someone to come in, right? But we do not have that. If someone with a disability wanted to go into the library annex, could they easily attainable get access? What I have been told is no.
Yeah,
So they don't-
Let me finish what I was saying though, because
Okay.
I wasn't actually done.
Oh, sorry, I thought you paused and you were
Okay,
done.
I did pause, but I wasn't done.
Okay.
Okay. So I was allowing people to think about what I had just said, okay? Which is different than being done. So fundamentally speaking, right, it doesn't matter what type of, so you just used the example of we're only talking about physical disabilities, right? There's disability parity, right? So and we've talked about it even in terms of this town hall. We're talking about using the second floor of the town hall for town meeting. We're talking about being able to use it not by installing a lift, but by installing a two-way communication system so people can sit down here where it's accessible and participate in the meeting upstairs.
But Beth, it's
No, no,
very
no, listen.
clear, that's not what we had.
No,
We
but-
don't have that.
but listen to me.
You're comparing an apple to an orange.
I am absolutely not. I am absolutely not. Okay? We are not there yet, but part of our overall town ADA plan for becoming compliant is making meetings available with appropriate notice using technology. So, what is, and yes, the Attorney General said holding the meeting in that space at that point in time, the way it was held, was probably not advisable under open meeting law, okay? But now we have a thing that goes into place that now, and I will say that the meeting for the cemetery paving committee didn't have the little disclaimer at the bottom saying, hey, contact people, okay? So it was totally appropriate for us to cancel that meeting. And then just because two people hung out, which was not a quorum, we wound up with an open meeting law, at least attempt at filing a violation. But if this was on the agenda, then they would have had 48 hours to say, I require physical assistance, or I need remote attendance, I want to participate in that meeting, what options can you offer me? And with appropriate notice, we probably could have asked Jacob to attend or send somebody to attend to provide a Teams meeting so that the person could attend in that building. So I think one of the conversations we need to have is that access is access, right? And if our general access for using the second floor for meetings is going to be technology, and if we're already offering for disabilities not related to physical disabilities, allowing people to attend remotely, okay, I think we just need to be consistent in how we offer access. So hypothetically speaking, if we wanted to use that building, provided that we could get support to offer a hybrid meeting for that, there's no reason.
There is.
What? What is it?
There is, Beth. That's why we have a wheelchair ramp on this building, so that if someone wants to attend a meeting that has a physical disability, they don't have to call or schedule or fill out a form or do a request. They take their wheelchair and they come up the ramp, right? The library annex does not have that, so we cannot use it. It was very clear to me what was said. The police station is ADA accessible, right? Not just remote access. So if we were simply talking about remote, you would be 100% correct. If we were videotaping the library at the meeting at the library annex. To my knowledge, that wasn't being done. You cannot get a wheelchair up the stairs or the steps, the stone steps to the library, or through the barn. It's not even possible. But that's why we have a wheelchair ramp on this building, and that's why the grades are such at the police station that it was built to be ADA compliant. So I understand what you're saying. If someone comes up that wheelchair ramp that has a physical disability and they come in this building and we have a monitor of what's going on upstairs, you're 100% correct. That does make it legal. But we're not having a monitor set up at the library annex. It wasn't being videotaped. And someone with a disability could not have attended that meeting. That, to me, is the only reason it's not compliant.
I thought, okay, I'm confused. This might be dumb, so I apologize in advance if it is dumb. But I was under the impression that you couldn't have a meeting at the annex because it's not ADA compliant. Forget the whole meeting jumbo, okay? But like your average Joe Blow off the street could not go to the annex right now publicly and go look at the museum or whatever it is.
With a physical disability.
Yeah, in a wheelchair right now.
Correct.
So like I was under the impression that the annex is not even supposed to be open to the public, so to speak. If they
That's correct.
if they can't access, if you can't walk in right now and go see the whatever's in there.
Under that theory, actually, our library currently isn't ADA compliant, and nobody should be able to walk in there.
But that building has been in existence before these rules came in. We only bought the library annex a few years ago.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference. Don't misunderstand that, right? Like,
So I'm just saying you do have to be careful.
Yeah,
It's
but
not
I guess that's what.
it's not totally black and white.
White, yeah, that's why I guess that's what I didn't think it had anything to do with like the
when the
meeting
Attorney
specifically. I thought it had something to do with like the build, like the actual building,
it is.
You guys,
right?
I could.
Yeah, let's read
Am I
the
dumb?
Attorney General's.
Yeah, because it says public bodies are subject to all applicable state and federal laws that govern accessibility for persons with disabilities. So it's saying state and federal law that govern accessibility to a building for persons with disabilities. Steve, am I reading this right?
The Attorney General,
I feel like Steve.
in their determination from July 16th of 2024, states the February 15 meeting was not accessible in violation of the open meeting law. Their explanation at the core of the open meeting law is a requirement that meetings of public bodies be open and accessible to the public. Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20A. Except when meeting in executive session, quote unquote, all meetings of public body shall be open to the public, close quote. Generally, access to a meeting must include the opportunity to be physically present, as well as to see and hear what is being discussed by the members of the public body. See Open Meeting Law Determination 2020-100, Open Meeting Law 2018-75, Open Meeting Law 2016-54. Public bodies must hold public meetings in a location with accessible parking, access to the building, and access to the meeting room. See Open Meeting Law 2019-90. For a meeting to be truly open to the public, it must be held at a location that is accessible to persons with disabilities. See Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20A. See also Open Meeting Law Determination 2023-43, Open Meeting Law Determination 2020-47, Open Meeting Law Determination 2015-38, Open Meeting Law Determination 2012-49, stating that meetings of public bodies must be held in locations that are compliant with ADA. And subsequent to that, since we've introduced the MS Teams portion of accommodations, I did reach out recently to town council, basically asking if the utilizing the library annex, which we all agree is not ADA compliant, but if we do provide accommodations, such as Microsoft Teams remote access, whether or not we can hold a meeting there. She said, in my opinion, no. This is from the Attorney General's Open Meeting Law Guide, see fifth sentence. So in totality, public bodies are subject to all applicable state and federal laws that govern accessibility for persons with disabilities. These laws include the Americans with Disabilities Act, the Federal Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and state constitutional provisions. For instance, public bodies that adopt website posting as an alternative method of notice must ensure that the website is readily accessible to people with disabilities, including individuals who use screen readers. All open meetings of public bodies must be accessible to persons with disabilities. Meeting locations must be accessible by wheelchair without the need for special assistance. Also, sign language interpreters for deaf or hearing impaired persons must be provided, subject to reasonable advance notice. The Attorney General's Civil Rights Division is available to answer questions about accessibility, may be reached, blah, blah, blah. So,
Okay.
the
So,
Attorney General and Town Council are.
okay. So, and that's fine. So I do want to talk a little bit about, and I don't know, did we wind up voting the $40,000 for the building maintenance account or no?
We did not, as part of the special town meeting,
Yes.
we weren't, no, we didn't because they already had, I want to say, close to $40,000.
So they are-
Right, but are we encumbering that for this coming year?
So they are working, they are going to be ADA compliant, I believe, as the last
Pretty
time
close.
I spoke with Brenda and the carpenter, I can't think of his name.
Was it Glenn or Matt?
Matt.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
So they were actually going to build a handicap ramp, and instead, so they had me go over with a machine and take the big stones away.
Yep.
But they've modified that. They've actually dropped the floor on
Floor.
the first floor
That's
of
what I was
the
gonna
barn,
tell you.
so that their access, they will not need, so the money is gonna go much farther now than what it was before.
Right.
So they're dropping the floor, no handicap ramp, we put the stones back, and they're gonna be accessible.
yeah, that's what I was going to tell you, is actually they already dropped the floor.
Yep. Well, when I was there the other day, they were dropping.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So they're done dropping the floor. It'll give us a program seating capability of 48 in an accessible space. So the nice thing about it is that they're already doing the work to make this a moot point. Okay, so the front half of the building won't be usable, but the back half of the building will be. So, but the one challenge they're gonna have for making that fully accessible, and I want to make sure that the board is okay with it, is they may need some help from the highway department to make the ADA parking spot. Because
I
in
told
order,
them that I was gonna do that for them.
okay, you're gonna do it for them? Okay. So. Brenda didn't share that bit with me, so.
I'm sorry?
I said, was that fairly recent? Brenda didn't share that bit with me.
It just might have been too much, because initially I was doing the post for the ramp. I moved all the stones, and as they require help, they're gonna inform me. But we talked about it's just gonna have a gravel parking spot taking up the line to the left of the driveway that's there and going to the building. So,
Okay.
and then a gravel walkway.
So then I think we can pretty much table this at this point, because they're gonna be to the point where it's going to be ADA accessible for
Yep.
about 50% of the building, probably within a few weeks, it sounds like.
Yep, yep, probably by the fall, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
Mr. Carmen, we have a hand.
Yeah, come on up, Steve, sorry.
You also got a hand online, yes.
2 minutes, right?
Steve Carmen. Yeah, I do have a couple of clarifications about open meeting law from my understanding, from what I've read on it. So as far as meetings being held in a public location, if the publics are held in a physical location that's open to the public, it must be an ADA accessible location. So I don't think the library in its current state should be supported for a public meeting location for that reason. Even if we did provide additional accommodations for remote access, I do not think that would permit it, because if the location is, if the meeting is being held in a public location, it must be physically accessible to the public by the open meeting law. There are additional accommodations the COVID provisions that Massachusetts introduced for the open meeting law that does allow remote and hybrid locations. It does allow the public to meet in a location that's not open to the public, but host the meeting purely remotely. So there are some scenarios too that would allow the
Use of the space.
public body to use that space, but not necessarily make it open to the
Public, yeah.
But if the location itself, if the meeting is physically open to the public, it must be held in a physically accessible location. So in that determination that came from the Attorney General's office, the timing of that, I think it went under the radar of the various commissions, because the recipient had just resigned a couple weeks prior to its its issuance. I sent
And for
it in-
some reason, Mike Siri didn't pass it along to people.
Yeah.
Because he was copied on it as well, and for some reason didn't share it.
Yeah, so I think that information was dropped. So from my knowledge, when we scheduled the cemetery paving committee meeting there based on Kermit Eaton's request, the select board had approved last April to allow that location to be open to the public as long as the agenda was posted 7 days in advance and the agenda was frozen. And I followed that, but missed that open meeting law determination. So that's where the mistake happened there. But based on all that has come forward now, I'm in agreement that until the location is physically accessible, we should not hold public meetings there. But anything else, I think, is outside the purview of the select
Yeah,
board.
the board, yes,
Yeah.
of course, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Jake, did you say Chris had his hand up?
There is a hand raised.
Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't want to just say the same thing everybody says, but in the shortest summary possible, if you hold a public meeting in a building or facility that's not ADA compliant, you are always going to lose that open meeting law complaints. And one of the things you guys, I actually was researching this today, you guys have a meeting, say in the room that you're right there, and 200 people showed up. And some of them were in the hallway and they couldn't hear you, or they were on the steps of the town hall. That would be an open meeting law violation. That's when you can take a monitor or whatever, put it into another room. It doesn't have to be for ADA, it could just be for the able people too. If you have overflow, there was like a case somewhere where they had this tiny room and there's one microphone and there's like 40 people. And they determined that to be a violation. But yeah, the library annex should be used if it's not ADA compliant. The town will always lose that open meeting law complaint. But I believe you guys canceled that meeting, so that pretty much eliminated it, right? That's it.
That's
Thanks.
correct. Harry? Anyone else?
So Rich, you were officially right.
So,
Yeah, I was going to say just quickly, Mr. Siri did take the library annex off as one of the possible locations.
Yep. So
Yeah, I
nobody
think
shouldn't
Steve
book it.
sent an email saying that, yeah, he requested Mike,
Do that, yep.
or Brenda, yes, yeah.
all right, go ahead, Dave.
Got the 2-minute timer on there, Ronald? All right.
Start the timer.
Yeah, the annex is very clearly stated by the AG, all this 48 hours. We're not to use the building until we get an ADA. Very simple. Why we keep talking about this, that, and the other? Now, if you get the librarian over there trying to make it ADA, I think we need to get someone who knows contracting. You're gonna do piecemeal, the doors need widening, it's not just leveling the floors. How are you gonna get into the barn? Get a big barn door. This is not just a handyman special trying to fix this building. You need someone who's gonna know what to do fixing this building to make it ADA. We allocated money almost 2 years ago and no one's done anything. And Beth, we held a meeting in there.
We
and you
didn't
showed
hold a
up.
meeting.
You showed up.
Yeah, as a member of the public.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. You are our ADA coordinator, correct?
Yep.
And you are a selectman, and you know that we were not supposed to meet in that building, and you still went along with it. And you allowed that committee to have the meeting there until I came in and stopped it. What have you done as an ADA coordinator in this town? What have you been doing? I haven't seen anything come across the select board saying, hey, we're gonna do this and that. By you. You're our AD coordinator. What are you doing? Nothing. So if you can't do the job and you don't want to do the job, I think we should pass it on to someone else, okay? And the library annex is a good asset to a town, but it does need fixing. And it needs to be fixed professionally, not just by someone over there leveling the floor and doing this. The doors need widening. There's a lot of work to be done over there. And someone's got to take a stand and show somebody and come forward, because the librarian does not know buildings. She's a librarian. I don't know who's directing her, but somebody should.
So can I,
Don't cut into my time, Beth.
Okay.
So if you're gonna be an ADA coordinator, do your job, but you should not have showed up at that meeting.
Go ahead, Beth.
so Brenda is leveraging experienced, and I think you spoke with Matt. He's a licensed contractor. He's been working in the contracting field for probably 45, 50 years. He's got another person that is probably, got about probably 50 or 60 years of experience working in historically accurate buildings, driving that project at a price that we should be buying them lunch every day in order to get that work done. So it's not, Brenda is doing what intelligent managers and intelligent department heads do, and what really is appropriate. She's found experienced professionals who are trying to drive that project in an incremental manner at very low cost. So I commend her for being such a good custodian of our funds. There's also there's a grant application out there. I think we're supposed to hear back about it in the fall, I think.
Yeah, that's my question. Did we ever actually apply for the
So
ADA grant application?
We did apply.
Okay, perfect.
The application is out there. Do you have visibility on when the status is coming back, or Lindsay is not there anymore?
It's on the website, I believe it is September.
Yeah, I think it was the September timeframe.
Okay.
So by then, we should have at least hear back as to whether or not we're getting any additional funds. Yep, so, because what they're doing is getting a study for a formal addendum to the townwide ADA study that we did in 2018, specifically for the annex, to get the same entity that provided us
Yeah,
our original
original,
plan
yeah.
to consider that building as well. And that will give us the roadmap for any of those considerations without it costing us a crap ton of money.
And I know you were upset about that not making the town meeting, but the reason that money was held back was to do this grant and then start with the grant process going forward. So the
Yeah.
funds were not coming out of raise and appropriate or free cash, but to exhaust all means for grants.
Well, and also I kind of want to make the point too, I thought it was going to be like $10,000 plus, but when we met with the grant writer, it was like $3,000. So.
But that's more for the study than the actual.
Yeah, for the
right?
study,
So
yeah.
then,
But,
without
I mean, if
having a
we had
study-
more time, then I would have been okay with doing the study and then going to town meeting and voting yes or no with the study information. But we held it off based on the study first, so I wish we.
No one knew what that
Yeah,
was.
yeah, it was, yeah, so I wish we kind of had known that before. And I'm not saying it's anybody's fault, but I wish we kind of had the study before going into
So
town
I
meeting.
will double down on what Beth said, Dave. I went over there, I watched the two
Very
contractors work, and
They're very proficient.
they are
Yeah.
very experienced.
Okay,
They
we'll see what
they
happens.
probably have a combined
Give it a chance.
age of close
Give
to
it a chance.
150 years, right? So they're
And they've been
not
swinging a
young
hammer
guys,
for most of
but-
that.
But they're doing a job that is gonna be nice when they're done.
Okay, that's what we want, that's all we
So,
want.
and
Not
she,
piecemeal.
Brenda has hired 2 exceptional workers.
Okay.
Put your faith and give it some time,
Oh, I
Dave.
see. We got 2 more, when are we gonna do something?
It took us 6 years to get a
They're
bathroom.
doing
It
it,
took
they're
us 6
doing
years
it,
to get a
alright?
bathroom in the town hall.
Give
We're
them
only
some
2
time,
years on
yeah.
All right, let's move
annex.
on. I wanna get out of here
Gee.
tonight before midnight, so. All right, number 12, Beth, this is all you.
Okay, so we keep talking about the town hall windows, right? And we haven't taken any substantive action yet. Is that
Well,
correct?
that's not true.
Okay.
But I'll let you speak and then I'll bring you up to speed.
Okay. So my recommendation was going to be that we get somebody in to at least take a look at the office spaces, because one of your points was that we've got the windows leaking, because the second floor is going to be a real challenge, but we've got.
Even this floor with these windows,
Yeah,
right?
even these
So,
are gonna be a
yeah.
challenge, though less so, but still a challenge, right? So my recommendation was gonna be, because one of the things that came out of the conversation with Mr. Taft around the floors and your conversation with him is the fact that there's been multiple times when we've said, hey, we'll get a quote, or we'll get somebody in here, and I don't know that we've even reached out to anybody or given it as somebody a next action and a deadline for what we're gonna do next with it. So it sounds like you have an update. I'd love
I
to
do.
know what the plan
Yeah,
is.
so I've met with 2 different contractors here to start with all the double hung windows with the sash to be removed. I'm waiting to hear whether it can be done with a very look-alike wood but being plastic versus whether it has to be all wood sash. So based on that, I sought prices for the double hung windows with the cost of the labor to replace them. So as soon as I have that, I will bring the board up to speed.
Okay.
And I expect it in the next week to 10 days.
Okay.
One question with the vinyl clad, have you reached out to historical?
No.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I say, because from based upon past experience with my previous life to the west, we ran into some
Real serious issues.
real issues where we.
And that's why I want to talk about what's
So,
the plan,
the
right? Because it's
cost-
like we can get the contractors in, but do we need to include in that plan the reach out to Mass Historical, who's got that action?
So the cost, the one thing I do know, the cost is 3 to 4 times more with the wood sash versus the vinyl clad. Even with a real wood look to the vinyl clad, it's still. 3 to
Well,
4
and then
times.
the question is also, is I think that they do, I think they have had better record with, and I think they're a little bit less than regular wood sash, but there's also engineered wood, and sometimes you can get that past historical. So I don't know if that's one of the options that you're looking at right now.
It is.
Okay. So who has the action to reach out to Mass Historical?
I talked to Lois a little about it, but she was going to put me in touch with the person at Mass Historical, but in speaking with Ron, he thought he might be able to get that contact as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you,
Because I was gonna say, Bill Simpson, head of the Town Hall Improvement Committee, I think has the historical folks on speed dial. So have we actually tried to partner with the
I haven't. In
remainder
speaking-
of the Town Hall Improvement Committee to see about,
In speaking with Bill, in a conversation with Ron and I and Bill, that he's very much considered giving up the Town Hall Improvement Committee. He's kind of kicked it off down the road a little while based on a couple members leaving. He didn't want to look like that's why he was leaving, because of other members, but he said his family life is, he wants to put the time there rather than the Town Hall Improvement Committee. Right? I mean, that's,
And as far as the local historic, they generally have their meetings here. I'll reach out to Lois, I'll try to attend their next meeting, at least bring them up to speed on what we're trying to do, what some of the options are, basically gauge what their reaction is.
I'm pretty sure when I spoke with her that their next meeting's gonna be in September,
Yeah, they take the summer off.
so
okay,
I'll keep you up to date.
sounds good.
Anything else on window discussion?
So fundamentally, we got what, only 25 as an earmark?
25.
So,
Yeah.
depending on what it comes in, are we looking at a special town meeting?
I guess that could be a possibility, or we do have some money in the town improvement accounts, and I thought that if we could try to round up any bit of money possible that we could make fit to it. Depends where the numbers come in, and
yeah, and how many windows too,
Exactly.
I think is gonna play a factor, and
but my top priority was all the offices to start.
yeah, and I was gonna ask, I guess we don't need to talk about it now, maybe when the quotes come in and whatever, but like what windows are a priority and what windows aren't a priority?
Yeah, and I had planned on looking into it and providing information. I didn't get to it before this meeting, but is there an equivalent for municipal buildings of Mass Save?
I will have to look into that.
'Cause-
I'd be surprised if there wasn't.
I would be very surprised if there isn't. So I think it may be a good opportunity while we're waiting on the specific quotes
Yeah,
relative to the windows, is if you would look into getting somebody in that's like the equivalent of Mass Save, because they come in hoping that they'll generate some work for themselves, right? We do know that the windows are probably the primary focus, but there may be some other energy saving opportunities that we have in here that we really should avail ourselves of. So, that's all I have.
Okay.
Speed
All right.
dating version, thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion for a one-day pouring license for Shelby
So
Hill,
moved.
the agricultural fair.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Grant writer discussion. Ron?
Yes, I think we're coming to the point where we're going to have to choose which avenue, or also be an advocate of choosing both avenues for placing the grant writing position. We could go out and advertise. Karen has kind of looked at some of the old applications and resumes that were submitted over a year ago. The interest is sparse for the individuals, but we can certainly go out and advertise, indicating the position is in fact available. Or we could take the other path, which would be more of a consulting firm, which I believe Beth had mentioned early on in the process.
Yeah, months ago, yeah.
And there are two grant writing firms or consultants that have been highly recommended. I do not have a rate sheet or anything like that, but I could probably get one within 24 hours for both of those firms.
I would be really interested to see if we could get one that would take the grant writing position on a percentage basis of something to that degree, rather than an hourly rate. So if that's even a remote possibility, I think I would like you to explore what the options that they offer.
I think in parallel, though, I would like to see us post the position. We don't have to hire.
No.
But I think what we want to do is take a belt and suspenders approach, because they're not necessarily mutually exclusive. And we have a long history of either people with that title or not with that title handling in-house. There was a period of time early on when Cindy was handling the highway, but we had a consultant that did most of the other grants in town. So I will tell you though, having the in-house grant writer was way more prolific for us. I think our overall like net for grant money is like 2 or 3x at least. If you take a look at how much grant money came into this town during periods of time when we had a grant writer versus periods of time when we're kind of making up as we go along. So it may be with a quote unquote professional firm, we might get that same performance, but I will tell you that
Well, it's gonna be a higher cost for sure, right?
Well,
Like-
it's a higher cost, right? And we may not be big enough to get their attention, right? So a lot of those entities work for towns like Holyoke and Chicopee and like much bigger entities than us. So we would only get like a portion of their time. So.
Well, whether it's Central Mass Regional Planning that they've assisted, or the Pioneer Valley Regional Planning Commission, right? They're not gonna, they still have worked with us, but
Oh, yeah.
we've not got the big number. Well, we've got some big numbers,
We've got some pretty good.
but that last grant that Lindsay had done, to me, that was the windfall for the town.
Yeah,
in my
and
opinion.
Cindy had a similar one. She got the
Yeah.
Mill Street one. That
Okay.
was a similar, for the day and age, it was
Yeah.
probably a similar size project. We've had our in-house grant writers get some really amazing,
The ones that
benefit.
I've not been really big on is reloaming the soccer field for $100,000, doing a walking trail down there for $75,000 that is starting to see some signs of erosion that we're gonna have to get on and take care of before it goes any farther. So
Yeah.
it's my thought to talk to Kyle about that, to have him take a look at that before the erosion gets too far.
Gets too
Yeah,
far,
so-
yep.
So I'm a big advocate for the grants for the Mill Street, the Gay Road, stuff like that, but not so much the playground, because we had a playground that was really in good shape that we replaced for really no reason, in my opinion. So,
it's the consensus of the board seems to be attack on two current.
Yeah,
firms.
yeah, I think that would be great.
As far as the hours and the wage for the grant writing position, should we want to stick to that 12 to 16 hours and right around that $29 or
Yeah,
$30 an hour?
that's what you're gonna have to go to get somebody that's, I mean, it's low for somebody who's qualified, but if we're lucky, we'll find somebody who's downshifting the way we did when we found Kathy.
I mean, worst case scenario, if we had to lower the hours and up the rate, however we make that, I think it's 24,000, however we make that work, I think would be a good step.
Yeah.
All right? Ron, this is all you. Number 15, department head goals and objectives.
I have had my, just maybe take a step back, generally for goals and objectives, I do a two-step process. One is the initial meeting where myself and the department head, I kind of throw my prospective goals and objectives out there. The department head also includes some of theirs. We kind of have a negotiation, for lack of a better term, to determine what those goals and objectives will be. We're at that point with three big ones, if you will, which is highway, fire, and police. I do not have the secondary interview or meeting, and that's where the metrics start to come in. And to a large extent, that's where the rubber really hits the road, because that's what the department heads are going to be measured on in 6 months and then again at 12 months. So that will hopefully be finished by the end of this week. And then I will be, I guess the question I have is, does the board want me to email the goals and objectives that have been finalized along with the metrics? And I can email that to the board, and then if obviously if the board has questions, you can reach out to me specifically.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine.
I do want to make sure, though, it's a dialogue. So
Yes.
when I get goals and objectives at work, I have input.
Yeah, and that's
And-
generally that first meeting where we kind of have a meeting of the minds. There might be some things that I see as a goal and objective, but then upon discussing it with the department head, they're like, well, you know, that's really part of this, and this makes
Right.
more sense. So there is that negotiation. And then the metrics is, like I said, that's you know.
Yeah, and the other thing I want to be, and one of the reasons why I really want to see it come through the board is bad metrics drive bad behaviors.
All true.
Is what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Bad metrics
Okay.
drive bad behaviors. So it's entirely possible to get what's called toxic compliance. So you can set certain metrics, and if those metrics are either somewhat arbitrary or something that can get played.
Or if they just simply don't want to do it, right?
Well, what I'm saying though is that they could do it, but do it in such a way that doesn't actually
You get the
achieve
reverse effect.
the intent,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah, that's clear.
I don't want to put us in a position where we have bad metrics driving bad behaviors.
Yeah.
What's
All right.
that?
That'll drive a bad budget too, so.
Amen. Amen.
It's all about the numbers.
Good one, Jeff. Right time to weigh in. All right. Review open meeting law complaint 7-3. I'm good with the response.
Yeah, I am too.
I guess my one question regarding it is that, we're sure we didn't receive any requests.
100% positive.
So, you know what, Ron, I'd like you to just read it so the audience knows what's going on and for full transparency and the request, I think, that Beth was talking about perhaps was like a blanket request, right?
Yes.
Not,
And in fact, that was addressed at the court hearing a couple of weeks ago, whereas the requester indicated they had made a request, but it was just that blanket request. I want to attend all these meetings, of every meeting for all these different boards, and which is really not in compliance with the accommodations policy, where we specifically asked the requester for accommodations to a specific meeting. And that's where the judge agreed that it was reasonable and that instead of making one blanket request that would live forever, that if you want to attend the meeting, you have to request accommodations for that meeting. So in that regards, yes, I guess it depends who you ask. Did we receive a request for our policy and for myself and my interpretation? I say no. I'm sure the requester would say yes, they did. The court said that it's not inherent to the policy.
So I think one of the things we may want to do is put the policy on, put this back on the agenda for a couple weeks from now and include some explicit language that we don't accept blanket requests.
Yeah, maybe it's similar at the bottom. I think the wording is such that it does speak about specific particular meetings, but I agree.
I would just put a big disclaimer on there that functionally says that all requests must include the date of the meetings or something along those lines. Because I think we were lucky regarding that interpretation and not necessarily.
Well, I think making a 48-hour request is not unreasonable, but
No,
I think
I don't-
doing a blanket request is.
It depends.
So I don't think
It-
we're lucky. I think it's just one's common sense and one's not, to me.
So in some interpretations, that could be viewed as an undue burden. So we were fortunate that in this particular instance, this particular judge, this particular day, and I'm not naysaying it, I'm just saying I don't want to leave us exposed. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're
Okay.
saying, but I know from day one, we've been very clear on how to do it, and we haven't deviated from that. So I know what you're saying. You ask three people the same question, you'd get three different answers. So
Yeah,
I get where
I
you're
just-
going with the judge,
Right.
but I think that we've been spot on consistent how we've handled this from day one.
So it may not be the three of us for the next 10 years, so let's get in writing what the policy is.
But as Sharon just said, several
Things
minutes
change.
ago, we can't have too much information.
Right? So,
All right, moving on. All boards, clerks.
Do we need a
space.
motion to approve whatever, nothing?
Catch.
Actually, I want to be heard on this, please.
He would like what?
Oh, he wants to be heard. Ron? Go ahead, Chris.
So, just for clarification, if you're creating a policy that says that a person with disabilities has to ask every single time for a meeting, I have some concerns. One, that's an ADA violation. It's red tape. You're not supposed to create barriers to make it harder. If you know that the person wants to attend all the select board meetings, they should also have like attend the select board meetings. And also, you guys did that in the past. Ask Jacob, he's in the room. He sent me a link, said, Chris, this is going to be the link for the select board meetings from now on. This is going to be the link for the board of health meetings from now on. So they're changing. You're going back and forth, and it's to sit there and say that a person with disabilities has to ask every single time. That is adding a barrier, and that's not what the ADA is about. And I have a real concern that the town, how is the town going to handle that versus saying, okay, I want to attend all the select board meetings, versus saying, okay, you guys send us requests every single time. I can't even get you guys to respond to an open meeting law within 14 business days. Okay? You're going to be able to respond to every single accommodation request before the 48-hour cutoff point. You should make this easier for both of us. There's no reason to say, hey, he's asking for 5 meetings, they happen once a month, we're gonna take that accommodation request in. Or say, you know, Chris, we're gonna do this quarterly, or we're gonna do it bi-monthly. To sit there and say you have to ask every single time, even though you didn't have that policy before, you're changing it midstream without telling anybody, not telling the disabled person we're changing it. We're now going to say we require it every single time. And Ryan, I sent you that ADA request and you ignored it. You didn't even respond to me. You responded to an open meeting law complaint response that you denied it because it was above and beyond what any other normal citizen would get. But I'm not a normal citizen. So I'm just trying to be on a level playing field. So, and I don't understand that you say I have to give you an accommodation request. I did. You should have said, Chris, this accommodation request has some issues, we need to resolve it. You need to send
Chris, your time is up. Your time is up, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All boards, clerk, workspace. Beth, I think this was you.
Yes. So, I was having a discussion, I was asking, I had talked to Holly a bit ago about how it was all going. And she did express a concern that, like commingling of the workspace between the water and the all boards clerk, since there is certain, files and just the different traffic around it, that it was somewhat disruptive for the water department for her to be working out of that office for the all boards clerk work. So, I had sent a note over to Ron saying, and this was during his vacation, so I wasn't expecting an answer right away, was that, hey, can we take a look at the appropriate space? I hadn't tagged back up with you about that.
Yeah, in
So-
fact, the Holly had brought that up in a recent
Department head
issue,
meeting.
if you will, the commingling of the files and so on and so forth. We both agreed on looking at the former grant writer office, that would be a suitable office,
Okay.
which the all boards clerk would be able to work out of.
Yep.
Also, the proximity to the files made it that much easier.
Yep.
And I think it makes perfect sense.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
Holly's in favor of it. I think it makes sense.
So,
Talk to Jacob as far as the technology moves.
so I didn't know if you wanted to make the decision or if you wanted us to vote it, so.
No, I think I'm good with Ron making that decision. I was good with it, but it's, Sarah, do you want to weigh in?
No,
Okay,
I'm fine, whatever.
Yep. All right.
so,
So that's done. Ron, it's
oh,
all
wait,
you.
we've got
Steve.
Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry.
When you make this decision, could you please inform the boards that the all boards clerk serves what phone number extension that the all boards clerk can be reached at? Because I think there's been some confusion among the public and the boards, whether it's extension 17 or 27,
Yeah.
or whether even the all boards clerk has a phone number extension based on the hours. So
Yeah.
something worth considering.
I think it would be great that, I think if they have the space, I think the smart thing to do is to have an extension so that then, it's just easier.
Yeah, just let
Right.
the boards know, because right now it's not clear.
So the other problem that I've been told is that the hours are not consistent so trying to come up with some
Yeah,
consistent hours,
consistent
I think
hours.
is
Specific,
Big of issue.
specific days, specific hours.
Yeah, and as it stands right now, there really are no set hours, office hours, if you will, for the all boards clerk. Basically, what Holly's been doing is she works in the water department, she finishes working for the water department, and then she puts on her all boards hat, and she starts doing that. So it's almost kind of a catch as catch can when she has time to do it. So-
Yeah, but leading off with Steve too, Steve has a life and Kevin has a life and they all have lives. So if they're coming in here and she's talking about water department stuff, she might not have time. So if they have specific times that they can go see her.
Yeah, what I'll try to do is I'll coordinate with each of the chairs, coordinate obviously with Holly and her schedule.
That'd be great.
Try to come
Yeah.
up with at least some specific.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll probably be able to get 100% set hours, but if we can. at
It's
least
what,
get some-
it's what, how many hours a week did we?
10.
10.
So let's see if she can lock down 5 of them,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the other 5
Or
are what?
floating or-
Are floating,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or
Because it
4
depends on
or
if
6
there's
of
a
them.
meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, just,
And that is one of the wild cards, if you will, for meetings. Obviously, they count towards the 10 hours, and as you do the 2-hour meetings,
Yeah.
4-hour meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would
Maybe
agree
if
with
it's
the
just 4
5,
hours,
yeah.
yeah. Maybe if
Especially
it's
for
just 4.
residents to come in and meet with her and get their
Yeah.
questions
Okay.
answered.
Moving on, 19 and 20, the May and June police
Yes.
report. Release of 4/3/25 select board executive session minutes. I'll entertain a motion to release those.
motion to release the minutes from 4/3/25.
Any second? I'll second that. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm abstaining.
All right, approve 5/29/25 and 6/17/25 select board minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for 5/29 and 6/17.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Sorry to say that we've
Yeah, can we cry
We've got
for
our-
a couple minutes? Yeah, can
We've
we
got
do
a-
like a moment of silence to say that
a
we're,
resignation from our treasurer, but I don't think it's a done deal. In talking to her, she said
I
that
hope not.
if we could get her some help, i.e. maybe even just a couple hours a week to answer the emails regarding a lot of the retirees and some of the current people at the school. She said the school is the big issue as far as work in the human resource department.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I have a-
That has always been an
I
issue.
have a question too.
But she said, let me just finish. She said that she does a town hall and also, and she does not have nearly the issues. But she did admit that some of the issue is change in insurance the way we recently have. And it has been a couple little issues with it. Cards, different dental, like there's been some issues. So she says she suspects that's gonna go away. But that's not the big thing, it's the HR process. So if we could hire someone for a few hours a week to help her, they could probably just do it remotely. We don't need them to come to the building, it's all by email and phone call. If we were able to do something like that, Sharon said she would reevaluate her resignation. But it would have to be someone on a high level HR. So my thought was that maybe we advertise for both positions. If we get a really qualified HR person that's willing to do 3 to 5 hours a week, and Sharon says that's working out great, I think she'd be willing to stay. If we can't get that, then we need to look at having a treasurer on board as soon as possible.
So my recommendation would be if it's only 3 to 5 hours a week, we need to find an HR service and not necessarily post it as a position. Because you're not
That's a
gonna
possibility,
find
but
some.
I do know someone, and I haven't been able to make contact with them yet. It's just been by text message, but the person is interested.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
And-
she's high-level HR.
And I guess
How about David
my
Holmes'
question
wife?
is
I'm sorry?
David Holmes' wife?
No.
Okay.
how did we take on the responsibility of the teachers?
We
That's a-
do because it's our school.
Yeah.
So, so the school,
Yeah, but so like, not to interrupt you, but like, okay, so I'm doing HR in Spencer, but like, I don't do the teachers, even for the elementary school or any school. So I guess my question is how did we take on the responsibility
So
of
I
of
think-
even the elementary school?
I think it's something that was always done by the old-time treasurer, but I think in talking with Lori, she said that's a possibility as well, to get the schools to take their own
Yeah, like,
issues.
yeah, to take their own, like,
So
I guess
that
my,
may be a
yeah.
discussion with Deb Boyd.
Yeah, I know, once again, my previous life, that there was definitely a line of demarcation between school HR
Yep.
and town employee HR.
Yeah, like I just do the town employees for Spencer, so I guess, yeah, how did we take on the teachers?
so fundamentally, I mean, and I don't know if the school structure is any different in
Yeah,
Spencer,
yeah.
but one of the things that you see is that we're regionalized at the middle school and above level. We're not actually, our
Regional
elementary.
entry
But
school.
Spencer is too. They have East Brookfield and,
Yeah, no, but,
Spencer.
yeah, right, but I think they're regionalized all the way down to K.
no.
No, you go to East Brookfield
has its own
Elementary School,
and
and then,
Spencer does.
yeah.
They only regionalize at the 9th grade or 7th grade level, very similar to Union Siskiyou.
And I hate to like bring it up, it's just a thought as he was talking about it now, like could we tell them like, sorry, now's the time. Listen, because I'm willing to keep Sharon at all costs, okay? She's a wonderful treasurer, so I'm not willing to just give up.
As far as I'm concerned, I think all options should be on the table.
Yeah, so
And
like,
I'm not objecting.
no, I know,
I'm
yeah.
just saying it.
And I'm
it may
not
be
saying
a
that
hard
might
thing
not
to
be
roll.
an option, I'm just saying like, yeah, can we kind of just like kind of look into it and kind of maybe,
Simple email is all it would take.
Yeah, to figure out our
start
options.
the conversation.
Yeah.
yeah, because like I said, I'm not willing to let go of Sharon without a fight, so.
I'll definitely reach out to Deb Boyd and see
Yeah.
how receptive she is, and we'll
But-
engage in a discussion.
But I will move that we go ahead and both
Yeah,
post
post, yeah,
the position and put some feelers out for HR as a service.
Yeah, and I know a company so Spencer hired a company and they actually don't do HR services, but they had somebody come in and do HR benefits in person. It wasn't just, like through email communication. Like, even though we were paying a third-party company, it's called NFP, so even though we were paying NFP, we still had an HR person come in Wednesdays from
They had
8 to 2
hours.
and had hours inside
Sharon
the
said
building.
it's not so much the in-house, it's the emails. She says no matter
Yeah.
what, she's
Yeah.
inundated with emails
Yeah.
and calls.
And calls.
So if that's a solution, and I think there's a great likelihood we keep sharing.
Yeah.
So just to confirm, so we're going to advertise for a treasurer-only position, for an
Yes.
HR-only position.
Yes.
We'll
Yes.
So
also
the,
reach out to the
the
schools.
only
Yes.
issue that we have is that we're gonna have to post that HR position as seasonal or casual, because we don't have the
That's
job
correct.
description in the bylaws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it would be more of a casual employee.
I think
so it meets the
it's
criteria.
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that we,
yeah.
I just wanna make sure we get the verbiage
I mean, some weeks
in the
they might work
posting.
10 hours, another week
They
they
might
work
work zero.
2.
Yeah, 2, yeah.
Right.
Well, especially once the insurance transition has been.
Is
Then it's going
over.
to settle down.
Down, yeah.
Yeah.
But the one thing in talking to Ron about this is, we need to drill down on this whether we hire someone or not, because the next person we hire is going to be faced with the same issues. So,
Yeah, and that's my thing, and like, Sharon's good, so for her to say that she's taking on too much, like, I don't want 6 months down the road, that person to say, or even 2 weeks from now when we hire somebody, saying that they feel the same way that Sharon does.
Agreed, yeah. I mean, if we close our eyes and kick the can down the road another year or so, we're going to be back in the same situation.
Yeah, and I don't want that to happen.
Only worse.
Yeah, yeah. They might just say, bye, see you later.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second,
I'll
I guess,
second
if you need it.
All in favor?
Am I gonna say no? Can I go get dinner still?
Where
I don't know.
they roll up the sidewalks
Yeah.
this time. It's a Cheerios night, baby.
There's 3